So marketers, company owners, and top executives place a lot of thought to winning and keeping residents, right? And they spend a lot of time and money on things like public relations, thought leadership, and large marketing campaigns. But the real front lines of making connections are really in the small daily interactions your staff has with its residents. So what do your residents want really? So let's break down a list of what your residents want and need so that you can provide that outstanding customer service in the new year in 2013. Well, to find that out, what they really want, you must conduct extensive research into who your target audience is so that you may be able to cater to a group in a manner in which they will respond. Last month we talked about big data, so you may be seeing this again, and we'll talk about how it can drive and optimize your decisions from the small to big ticket items. What big data does is it determines large amounts of data of a variety of types to uncover hidden patterns, unknown correlations, and other useful information. So not only will this provide competitive advantages for you over rival organizations and other properties out there because your team knows how to speak to your residents and prospects regarding tone of voice, big data will also help us better predict prospect behavior. Now, another method of productive monitoring is scoping out what your residents are saying about you via ratings and reviews. You can learn so much about your audience by what they say in the form of an anonymous rating or review. I'm sure we've all seen cases where individuals are more open in anonymity. In situations where both positive and negative reviews are being posted, you have the opportunity to study the content so you know how to respond in an appropriate manner. So if you're familiar with our newest product, Reputation Management, you'll know this tool scans across the World Wide Web for mentions of your brand and sorts it by sentiment, which would be positive, negative, and neutral. Now, the great thing about this is not only does the dashboard display where, when, and on which site a rating or review is posted, you have the opportunity to create a brand presence on sites where the reputation management offering or tool indicates your brand is not present. So responding to these reviews will show how your residents and prospects, how you can acknowledge them, which also allows you to take back the reins of conversation. It allows you to control that message essentially. So you might be asking yourself, why does decision monitoring, why is this so important? It's important because residents want to be heard ultimately. This need takes high priority, and it's up to you to recognize and address this by conveying acknowledgement and responding to it in an appropriate manner. Are you answering the majority of calls that come into your office? Are you answering those calls with a positive attitude, more importantly? If you're using an email response system, which I know some of you are, do you have an autoresponder to acknowledge and thank your resident for their email? Essentially, follow-through is an aspect of customer service that residents rely heavily upon. Toward the end, I'll share a link on customer service etiquette and email interaction, which is great to use on a daily basis. So let's talk a little bit about empathy. This is always a touchy subject only because you don't go to work every day to be a friend or confidant. You go because you're here to provide great customer service. That's not to say you can't empathize with your residents and prospects on certain levels, though. Now, I recently came across a great blog on Multifamily Insiders that gives great tips on finding a healthy, happy medium between being robotic and being overly feeling. And the difference is that empathy allows you to acknowledge those excuses as to, say, maybe why a resident can't pay their rent on time, but allows you to enforce those policies. Let's talk about accountability. This is another thing that residents really want from property managers. Being accountable for the role you and your fellow staff members play is yet another healthy approach to take when dealing with residents. Great customer service is focused around being accountable for circumstances in your control. On the same token, it works both ways. It's important to hold your residents accountable for things in their control as well. Maybe, for example, enforcing the due date when rent is due or reminding residents to pick up after their pets. These are ways that both property managers and residents can hold one another accountable. So checks and balances is very important to residents. Now, another aspect that's a want or a need from a resident is engaging and creating conversations with residents using avenues like Facebook, Twitter, and other avenues is a great way to recognize them in the social space. We've talked about storytelling. We've talked about how you can utilize your Facebook timeline to tell your story. We have some other visual aspects, which would be Instagram. You can even use Twitter. You can even start a blog. These are all ways that will help you be more creative, be a better listener if you have some type of feedback form. It allows you to express your creativity. So if you have someone on your team who is a creative writer, this is definitely a lane they'd want to go down. So again, we've talked about all the different aspects of storytelling to help promote your compelling content online. Now, we've seen other verticals out there implement maybe a fan of the week initiative to recognize their consumers. And just because these are examples that are not in the multifamily housing industry, that's definitely okay. One thing that we love to do is adopt trends from other brands out there and apply them to the multifamily industry. So in this example here, Zenni Optical is an online eyewear retailer and uses highly visible areas like their Facebook timeline, their cover photo, their profile picture to recognize their customers. And these are customer-generated photos. So these are photos that the customers have themselves turned in. So the brand doesn't even have to spend time seeking out these photos because that's how much brand love there is for this brand in particular. The customers actually send in their photos so that they may be a fan of the week. And again, this is something that you can adopt for your community, but make sure you have a photo release because those are very, very important to have on hand. Now, another aspect that's important is if you want to implement something like a resident appreciation week or a resident appreciation day, this example you see here is Vista del Campo in California. They created a Facebook event for their residents, inviting them to several appreciation events focused on Resident Appreciation Week. Now, ideas like this are simple to set up and implement and will allow you to adjust according to your marketing budget. So for this example you see here, they have various events where they're having a dessert night, they're having a barbecue, they're having a pizza pals and games night. And if you can only do one of those, that's perfectly fine. Again, use all of these examples to adapt and to adopt for your own business model. Now, here's a very important question I have for you. Are you excited about what you do? It's very simple, but it's very intuitive. How do you stand out? What about your personality attracts prospects? You might just be the first impression your prospect has, and what better way to recognize them as a potential resident than with a winning attitude? Think about it. The desire to recognize and empower others stems from being recognized and empowered, right? It's a cyclical effect. For those who play the leadership position on your team, are you going to be remembered as the passive leader who stood by and watched but said nothing? Or are you going to be remembered as the leader who encouraged and recognized your team, therefore energizing them to recognize and empower your residents? I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. Everyone feels great. When people feel great, they want to make other people feel great. And so it's very cyclical, so you need to stand out in some form or fashion. Again, if you feel like someone on your team is a creative writer, have them start a blog. That's one way they can filter their talent into something that promotes your business. Now, you might find you might come against some roadblocks that prevent you as a leader from recognizing your team more often. And knowing that recognition and empowerment comes from within, and as someone on staff that plays a leadership role, you may have intentions to recognize your team, but you might be facing those roadblocks that prevent you from following through. So either you don't know what to do, you might find that recognizing your team is a hassle, or you're just not quite sure at what level of recognition is appropriate. And most of these issues can be tackled easily by creating open lines of communication with your team. And it might be a bit awkward at first, and that's okay, but it's so important because recognition and empowerment is in fact contagious, and the people benefiting, again, are not only those on your team, are not only your fellow property managers, but when they feel great, when they're energized, when they're empowered, and when they're recognized, more importantly, your residents are as well. So let's quickly skim over some apps for smart devices that will better allow you to recognize your residents. We always try to implement or include Instagram in any of our presentations because it's so relevant right now. It's that hot button app that everyone's downloading. And many properties are using Instagram as just one more way to promote and expose their brand. So let me share with you some Instagram incentives and initiatives that we've implemented at ForRent. So fan-oriented Instagram campaigns encourage fans to share photos and create engagement. They're among the most successful because they create a different avenue for your fans' voices to be heard and personalities to shine. Now, creating a hashtag specific to your community won't only give your residents an outlet to showcase community photos, which is free promotion on your end, but it'll make filtering the search results that much easier if you create your own hashtag. Now, these examples you see here are Instagram photos we've shared from fan-oriented campaigns. We've promoted men's health in November and included the nationally known hashtag Movember because of that. So that means any type of photos that come in using the hashtag Movember, those will filter through, and that means if you include a nationally known hashtag in any of your photos you share on Instagram, they have the higher probability of being seen by more eyes just because more people are utilizing that hashtag more frequently. Another great example is ForRent.com and Homes.com joined together, and they're in the middle of a holiday-focused initiative encouraging participants to share a photo a day for the whole month of December. And it seems like a daunting task, but it's really fun because it gets people involved. You see here that these are all holiday-themed challenges, so people are more than obliging to share their photos. The campaign Home for the Holidays lists different photo challenge which inspires participants to get creative in sharing their holiday spirit with the brand. So again, these are just two examples that you can utilize to help your Instagram or help any type of social initiatives by using Instagram. Another couple examples of the photos that we shared are tasty treats. You see here we got a couple of puggles as holiday pets. We have other nostalgic holiday-centric photo challenges. So we'll talk a little bit more about how you can utilize visual appeals to communicate to your audience next month. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be an exciting presentation. So I mentioned this app called Dictation last month, and it's an easy-to-use recognition application that allows you to easily speak into your smartphone or smart device and see your text message or email. Now, it's said to be up to 5 times faster than typing on a keyboard because you're speaking rather than typing. And if you're implementing more social media initiatives into your marketing strategy, this is an app that more property managers are using to keep track of the needs and wants their residents and prospects are voicing. So this is great when you can use it as a leasing tool. You can speak into it while touring your property with the prospect, kind of talking into your smart device saying what features they want. If you may be offering some type of a furnished option, you can talk about what their needs are, what features they like best, etc. So the next time you follow up, you can repeat those exact wants and needs to your prospects, enforcing the point that you are really listening. And again, that is answering that call to action of residents just want to be heard. Another way that you can use Dragon Dictation is during the move-out inspection, you can list maybe any damages or any differences from the time they moved in and comments about the apartment. So you can use this as a way to get testimonials from your residents. This is just a great all-around app you can utilize as a marketer, as a property manager in 2013. Now, some new apps we have here are Appreciate, which is a nifty app that focuses on helping you provide specific praise for those you choose to recognize. It also allows you to quickly prepare for maybe if a team member has served a certain period of service, or if a resident has lived at your community for a certain amount of time. This is great for anniversaries. So we talked last month about how a property in Atlanta is acknowledging its residents as 5-star members if they've been there for 5 years and they're renewing their lease for a 6th year. They get this great wood box with all of these goodies inside of it. And this is another way that you can ping yourself to remind yourself to recognize your resident for that. This is also great for birthdays and milestones like birthdays, and even just to announce a scheduled celebration. And this is all done via Microsoft Outlook. Again, this is a handy recognition tips that within this app are included through the experience, as well as fun e-notes and thank you cards with this app. And this is just a great app to use all around to recognize anyone on your team, from staff to residents. Now, another app that we're seeing being used more often is Cards, which is produced by Apple. It's a product of Apple, and it lets you create and mail beautifully crafted real greeting cards personalized with your own text and photos. So this is great. This is great for the holidays, right? When you want to send out some type of thank you cards or we appreciate you, happy holidays to your residents and staff, you can do it all from this app, right from your iPhone, iPod Touch, and now you can do it from your iPad, which I know a lot of you guys are using as a substitute for paper. Now, this app, Cards, helps you take advantage of the iPad's additional screen real estate if you choose to use it on your iPad, making it even easier to customize your cards with your own photos and text. So I suggest that you play around with this. I'm not quite sure if it's free or not, but just play around with it and see what you can produce. Now, this is so important to me because I was raised in the South, and I was raised that you give someone a handwritten card, right? And research shows that handwritten thank you notes are cherished more than the same emailed words of praise. So even if there's verbatim the same words, the delivery is a little bit more intimate and appreciated if you're writing it down rather than shooting someone an email, because that takes no time, right? So with the handwritten app, you can use your smart device and a stylus to craft handwritten notes that can be easily emailed, giving you the best of both worlds. So you get that handwritten note card effect, but you can plop it into an email, and it's the best of both worlds. And the simple and elegant user interface you see here makes the experience almost super easy, and you see that it's just a 4-step process. So again, this is available for Apple. Okay, so now that we've touched on the wants and needs of your residents, we'll also talk about, as well as tactics and approach to better recognize them, let's talk about now what you can do to, and what you can expect in return for providing great customer service. So by recognizing your residents and prospects, in turn, you are most definitely going to get more testimonials because they'll be happy to provide those for you. They'll be happy to recognize you and the way that you've recognized them. Your resident retention numbers will be positively impacted, therefore giving you more loyal residents. And then interacting with your brand online. So what they'll want to do is, by giving you that resident retention, they'll be loyal and they'll interact with you online. By interacting with you online, you gain brand ambassadors. So it's a win-win for everyone again. Okay, so we've come to the end of our presentation. This was a really quick and dirty one. Just wanted to give you that 30-minute snapshot since we took a lot of time last month. So what we're going to do now is email some value or shoot you some valuable links. We'll chat these with you, which was that email etiquette link I showed you earlier, which just talks about, since the holidays are coming, this is a very relevant article. It talks about, it's a great resource for when aiming for great customer service, essentially. And it shares some valuable insight on how both the service provider and the customer can interact with one another. So we'll share that link with you. Next, the link we'll share with you is, since we've been plugging reputation management lately, I came across a great article that talks about what you can do to maintain your reputation. So this was from Maria Lawson. She's a contributor on Multifamily Insiders, which is a great hub for any type of blogs you want to find from people that are actually in your position, in the field, that are feeling the same way you are. So we'll share that link with you. And then lastly, just because we're in the spirit of giving and it's the season for giving, I want to share a great holiday entertaining guide produced by both Homes.com and ForRent.com. And this comes in the form of a PDF. So feel free to print this bad boy out, give it to your residents, and use it for your upcoming holiday event. It's a great guide to show you how you can throw the ultimate holiday shindig. As always, we'd love for you to connect with us on Twitter. We'd love for you to follow us on Instagram, and then be sure to visit our blog. And I'm going to take a couple questions now. So we had a question that was asking about the last app that was mentioned, so let me go to that slide for you. So I believe you're referring to the Handwritten app. I believe it's only available for Apple devices, and I might be wrong, but last I checked, it's only available for Apple devices. And again, you can use your finger or you can use a stylus, and you can actually write in your own handwriting on your smart device. So again, I believe I said it was available for iPads and iPhones. And again, what this will do will help you get that handwritten feel. And if you're not in the capacity to be able to handwrite a note and deliver it, which I know all of you are wearing a million different hats and you're kind of multitasking, this is the happy medium. This is that best of both worlds that allows you to provide that handwritten feel using your own handwriting, but put that in the form of an email. So you see here, we have that handwritten form, but it's in an email. So this is really cool. Again, it's giving you that high-tech but intimate and personal touch. And the app is called Handwritten. If you just go to the Apple Store, you'll be able to find it there. So if we don't have any other questions, I'm happy to hang out if you do, but if not, you guys are free to go. I so much appreciate your time. If you have, I hope you've caught the spirit of recognition today. And on that note, I hope you have a happy holiday, and on behalf of ForRent.com, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to talking to you next month. Have a great day, everyone.